Hi kids, this is a video to introduce you to the KNEX motor, okay? I'm going to ask that you watch this video and then take the quiz afterwards. I'm also going to ask that you get a really good score on the quiz. You've got to probably, I'm going to have to say 80% or better in order for you to get this motor. And the reason I'm doing that is because in life, when we get older, we oftentimes have to take an exam in order to get the privilege to do something, such as driving a car, okay? Or some of us are learning that because we're getting our hunting license. So there are times in life when we want to go to the next better step, but in order to do that, we have to go and take an exam, okay? So anyways, this is the KNEX motor, okay? There are 4 types of KNEX motors, all right? There's this type, which comes in black, green, silver, blue, and this is a standard KNEX motor. You can see that it has these little pegs right here. This is where the rod goes in, okay? The switch is right here, but there's going to be another video to help you walk you through all that. So this is the standard motor. This is the motor you will be getting. The other type of motor that we have available is the tethered motor, okay? Now there's a long tethered motor, so there's 4 types of KNEX motors. There's the tethered motor, the standard motor, the tethered motor with a long cord, and the solar motor. And there's some other specialized motors, but that's the only ones that we would actually use for projects. Now, we won't be using the tethered motors, okay? You might need to use one of these. If you're assigned one of these and it breaks, we don't have any extras, so you would be assigned one of these tethered motors and you'd have to improvise to make it work, okay? So there are 4 types of KNEX motors. There are no spares, okay? Mrs. Triola has already told me that I'm not allowed to buy any more KNEX parts because I'm close to retirement. So these motors are pretty valuable and you have to be very, very careful with them. One of the things that happens is kids will drop them, and there's 2 things that break on them very easily. It's these little connector pegs and the hatch for the batteries. The battery hatch breaks very easily if it's dropped, and these pegs break very easily. These are getting older, so the plastic's getting weaker, so you've got to be very, very careful with these. Last year, I felt really bad for an individual because he accidentally all he did was bump it off his desk, hit the floor, and it broke, and it destroyed one of the motors. We have no replacements. In fact, some of you will probably get a motor that has duct tape on it trying to hold it together, okay? So anyways, if your motor breaks, it's probably going to break either here or there, okay? When you get your motor, the first thing you should do is check it to make sure it runs, and make sure that it's not missing any pegs. If it's missing pegs or doesn't run, come see me and I'll mark down that it was like that when you got it, okay? All right. So anyways, if your motor is lost or broken, we'll try and get you a new one. However, if you lose it, you might not get a new one. But if it just happens to break or something like that, then what you can do is you can use this motor possibly. But it's not going to work for many of our projects, so that's the problem. That's why you have to take care of things, okay? Now, the other thing, trying to keep track of my notes here. Some kids ask, can you bring in your own motors from home? Yeah, talk to me about that. If you have a motor like this, it might be a different color, and you want to bring it in because you're thinking, well, then I don't have to worry so much. You can do that, all right? However, if you bring in your own motor, the school district or me will not be responsible for it. So if you break it or you lose it or somebody takes it, we won't be able to replace it for you. But if you want the freedom of having your own motor and know that you will always have a motor available, you can bring in your own motor and you can keep it in your kit with your other stuff. And we'll mark down that it's yours, okay? So let's see. That kind of takes care of it all. Oh yeah, remember, when you get your motor, the first thing you should do is check to make sure all these points are here. If they're not, you'll tell me because some are missing them. You'll check that it works. Okay, all right, went over that. You can bring in your own motor. You have to ask me first. But you're responsible for taking care of it, not the school. We have no spares, so if yours breaks, you're going to get one of these possibly, or nothing at all. And that about covers it for the motor. Some kids are thinking right now, why do we even have to worry about motors or use motors? Well, the reason we need motors is because we're going to do STEM activities. This motor takes the STEM activities in math up to the totally new level. In fact, the process that we will be able to use is the engineered design process. So this motor, the reason we're using motors is because it allows us to take our STEM to the next level. It also allows us to use the engineering design process. And the engineering design process, some of you know it's up on the wall. First you ask a question, then you imagine a solution, okay, and then you make a plan, then you create something, and then you improve it. So the engineering design process is used in STEM a lot, and it's all about, what's the problem? How can I come up with a solution, imagine and brainstorm, then make an actual plan, and then create what it is you've planned, and you improve it once you've tested it out. So those are the 5 steps of the engineering design process. And these motors will be a key part of STEM and using that design process. So anyways, that's about it as far as my information on this motor. So what you're going to do now is you're going to try and get an A on the quiz for this motor. If you don't pass the quiz at a proficiency level of 80 or better, I might ask you to take it again. Okay? All right, kids, good luck, and come see me after your quiz is done, and I might give you a motor.